Hello there. This is CES1343 Speech and Communication by Professor Jamila. And so this is the very first assignment in which we are assigned to do an analysis on a speech video. So, um, from my observation, the speech is very informative as the speech tells us on how schools should respond to COVID-19, the pragmatic steps and ways that are to be taken for schools to tackle the problems that is caused by the pandemic. And I think the intentions of the speaker are to evoke feelings and emotions of what it feels like to be in school back then when the pandemic is not happening. When she wiped down every desk between classes and reminded herself to breathe, when she held it together so hard when students say goodbye, and with strange scared wait on that word where colleagues and she exchanged glances in the hallway at once. And I think what I can tell about the speaker is that she is such a very kind of compassionate person as she always puts her subjects in the first place, in which it is her students, where she recommends what students should do in order to tackle the problem that is caused by the pandemic. And I can also tell that she is very calm and composed. She doesn't flinch at all, and she is very relaxed, where she doesn't move around, and she keeps her posture very laid back and straight. And the audience that is expected to be the viewer of the video is, I can tell it could be parents, teachers, and students. To be short, anyone and whoever that is associated with the school. And they could be boys and girls from the school, or any men and women of parents to their beloved children. In this context, it is the students themselves. And they could be from any kind of works or job scopes. And so I think pretty much that's all from me. So for further analysis, I pass it down to Mr. Anas. So you may take over.
So, Assalamualaikum and good evening to Professor Jamila. So, for my point, the kind of technique that the speaker employs on capturing the audience attention. Number one, she delivers a performance rather than a speech. For me, speech is all about word, but performance is so much more. Performance, for example, public speakers work hard on capturing and keeping an audience attention. Number two, her posture makes everything more nice and presentatively positive. As like Mr. Saif gave us, just stand up straight and keep your shoulder back. Make sure to wear clothing that conceals signs of nervousness. For example, as me, formal and sober casual, or like Mr. Saif wearing a turtleneck. Number three, she speaks clearly and carry out the message smoothly. It can be translated into energy and authenticity. Emotion pulls the audience in and get them involved in the process. If you're going to invest the energy into speech, it should be a subject that's important to you. So the next point is how she introduces her school's condition when the COVID-19 impacts. Number one, she explains what teachers do for online teaching. Number two, she describes on how the school reacts. So, moving on to the next point. The text and points, for what I can say, is legit, and some points we can see it happening in our own country now. As in, the COVID-19 is a pandemic for the whole wide world. So, moving on to the next person is Mr. Irfan Daniel.
I don't want to.
You have to.
I don't want to.
You have. You're embarrassing me. Come on.
Come on.
Come on, you're embarrassing me. Come on.
Sit down there, man.
Fine. Ow.
A very good afternoon to everyone, and especially Prof. Jamie. Well, on my part of the analysis regarding the speech on how schools should respond to COVID-19, well, on my part, I did an analysis regarding the figure of speech. Well, first of all, I found that in the speech, she used simile, which is a phrase which compares something to something else using the words like or as. In the speech, she used the fight for equity in Chicago is as old as Chicago. The second figure of speech is used in the speech is hyperbole, a figure of speech which exaggerates the meaning of sentence. In the speech, there's two hyperbole that I found, which is donated mask by the thousands, and the second one, half dozen other educational hashtags that don't matter. The third figure of speech that I found in the speech is alliteration, which is the repetition of sound or letters. Well, the ones that I found, there's two of them that I found, which is well-intentioned color-coded schedules speckled the internet. And the other one is over 100,000 households in Chicago. And the last but not least is that I found the figure of speech personification, which is used to give an inanimate object a sense of being alive. For example, found in the speech is weaponizing grades as a mean of compliance. Moving on to the next analysis, which is the structure of the speech, is the speech, in my opinion, is very well structured, as it is emphasizing and focusing the attention on the effects of COVID-19 on students, teachers, parents, and generally about how it is affecting the school and education system during the pandemic. Moving on to the argumentation, in my view, during the analysis of this TED Talk, I found that the points given, like how they should improve, how school or the government should improve and do some initiative to improve the education during this pandemic, is very well said, very well delivered, and it will give impact to students and parents. And the impact that it gives is that it will spread awareness throughout the world, not just, well, in the speech it's happening in Chicago, but as I analyze the videos, the impact could be implemented throughout the whole wide world, as it is not just happening in America, it's happening in Malaysia, in our country, Indonesia, and so other countries. So yeah, I agree very strongly to the points given in the speech. And so that is all from me. And for the conclusion of the video analysis, the TED Talk analysis, I would like to give it back to my friend Saif. So that is all from me.
So moving on to the very last part, in which it is how the speaker ends her speech. So the speaker ends her speech by wrapping up her feelings and thoughts about the situation, where she feels like she wanna go back to school and she can't wait to go back to school, where she missed the hum of the hallways and the weird energy of a room filling up the summer phones, and a better kind of exhaustion from putting her heart and her guts into what she loves doing every day. So I think the impacts that can be triggered upon listening or watching the speech is that it gives us the thoughts and facts on what needs to be done to tackle the current situation that is going on that affects the school, and where it gives awareness of what's happening, and it tells us on what government should do in order to help schools to tackle the situation, and what school should provide to reduce the tech gap that the students are facing. So I think pretty much that is all for me. So that is the end of the speech analysis. So I would like to invite both of my presenters, Mr. Anas and Mr. Daniel, to pretty much wrap this whole video. So this is CES1343 Speeches Communication, lecture by Professor Jamila, our very first assignment 1, speech analysis. That is all from us. Thank you.
Thank you.